Hi, I'm Sherry Colvin, and in this tutorial I would like to talk to you about preparing and painting your mini doll kit for an all-over flesh color. The great thing about casting in resin is it can capture an enormous amount of detail. During the casting process, a seam line is created where the piece is taken out of the mold. It's preferable to remove these seam lines to give the finished doll a smoother appearance. The tools you'll need to do this are some type of X-Acto blade or an emery board or fingernail file. Resin is really easy to sand, so take your file and gently work on any seam line that you want to smooth out. Or take your X-Acto blade and simply scrape down the seam line until it's flush. Do this to all the parts, including the arms, the legs, the torso, and the hip section. Once the resin pieces are nice and smooth, you'll need to clean them. You'll need dishwashing liquid, clean water, and a toothbrush. Dip the toothbrush in the dishwashing liquid and water, and then thoroughly scrub each part until it's clean. Rinse it and dry it. Now you're ready to put an all-over flesh color primer on your parts. Choose a flesh colored craft acrylic paint. You'll need more clean water and a paintbrush about this size. Start by mixing a very small amount of pigment in with the water. You want this very, very thin. We're going to create a wash. You can see I'm not putting a whole lot of color on it. You're not going to cover the whole face with this wash. Allow this paint to dry before going on to the next thin wash. After the first thin wash is dried, you're going to recoat it with another thin wash. Allow that to dry and then do it one more time. 3 coats should build up a really good color wash on your figure. If you want to speed up the drying time, you can use a blow dryer. Make sure you have it on the low setting. This can also help to heat set the color. Our final step is to blush and all over color the figure. You're going to need a couple of small brushes, some pastels or chalks, and a clean piece of paper to mix these on. Choose several different flesh color or blush color chalks to mix together. As you can see, I'm just getting a little bit of each color on the brush, and I'm going into places where I would think that I wanted to color the skin with some blush. Around the eyes, the cheeks, the ears, get them in there, and then usually just all over blush the face very, very, very lightly. Now, if you get too much of the color, you can just wipe it off with your fingers and continue on. I like to put some on the nose, the tip of the nose, the chin, all over. Another good tip is not to limit this to reds and pinks. I will often put yellows and browns in the skin as well because there's so many different colors in skin, and this helps it to be more realistic. I'll also use blues very, very, very sparingly underneath the eyes to create a thinner looking flesh area, and also in the temple area where our skin tends to be thin as well. Use very, very little of this blue. You can barely see it, but in miniature it will make a difference to the figure. Once you're finished with your all-over coloring with the blushes and chalks, you're going to want to seal the figure with a spray matte acrylic sealer. And that's it for this tutorial. I hope you found it helpful. Visit minidollkit.com for more helpful tutorials on making miniature dolls.